Cher here, and who's ready for Cars 3? I think you noticed me hesitating as I said that in the most sarcastic tone ever. I mean, seriously, who asked for a Cars 3? Who in the Disney company let this happen? I mean, did Cars 2 do so good to the point that it deserved a third movie? Like, why? For a period of time, mostly late 90s to the 2000s, we had a long line of pretty bad or at most decent sequels done by the Disney Toon Studios, a very small branch of the Disney company, which were produced either in Australia, Japan, or Canada. But seriously, the third Aladdin movie was the best. Or at least Return to Neverland. So when it comes to sequels of the present time, and I mean, we just had Finding Dory last summer, which was considered to be one of the better Disney sequels that we've had in a long time. But I think the main difference between Disney Toon Studios and something like, I don't know, Pixar, is that Pixar had the budget. Disney Toon Studios really didn't. So, if a sequel's made by, like, the main portion of the company, that means it's bound to be a better film. I said bound, it doesn't mean it's actually gonna be great. However, as of recent, as we continue to look at the upcoming film schedule for Disney, we have a couple of sequels coming up that are coming in the main repertoire of the either Disney animation or the Pixar side. So of course we have Cars 3, the atrocity that no one asked for. However, that does get us excited for The Incredibles 2, which would be coming out later that year or somewhere in the next year. And then we also have Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, which we've only seen teaser pictures, but we think it's bound to be interesting in some light, because hey, everyone liked Wreck-It Ralph 1. And then we also have Toy Story 4, which was, or has been rumored to be surrounding itself around how Woody and Bo Peep first met. Yeah, if you remember the very long line of bad Disney sequels in the past, most of them not even being sequels, they're quote-unquote midquels. Yeah, you know how bad of a reputation those got. But, and half of me thinks, is really a backstory between Woody and Bo Peep really necessary? But then again, I'm not gonna be too picky, I'm gonna see how that pans out. And then we're getting, oh my god, Frozen 2. Of course, Frozen happened to beat The Lion King, being Disney's cash cow. So of course they had to put a sequel. Like a sequel to one of the worst movies plot-wise. But well, if this sequel is again Disney's another apology for the horrible story writing that was known as Frozen, maybe I'll forgive it. But then again, I'm probably gonna be one of those people who would probably wait until I can finally stream Frozen 2 in order to actually make an opinion, because I don't think I want to be wasting another $11 on a movie ticket. And then the latest rumors that have been going around, it hasn't been confirmed or denied. People are saying that because of the upcoming TV series that's coming out, that Big Hero 6 is also intentioning for a sequel. It's been said by the actors that it hasn't been confirmed or denied, and Stan Lee might have slipped that Big Hero 6, the sequel, was gonna be one of Marvel's future line of movies. So but I'm not saying that the movie's gonna come out anytime soon, but if it comes out sometime in the future, considering I'm the person who went to go see that movie the time it came out, I'm really excited for a Big Hero 6 sequel. Please, I want a Big Hero 6 sequel. But whatever you do, please do not bring Tadashi back. Like, whatever Disney does, don't bring back Tadashi. But now that I think about it, with all these Disney sequels coming out, some that we wanted, some that we didn't, I started thinking about what type of sequels I've been wanting to see. Not saying that these might happen or not, or I might be pushing Disney to actually think these have been. These are just my little ideas, and maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't, and if you want to say something about like a sequel that you want to see from a Disney film, you can put it in the comments below. Shameless plug right here. The first movie that definitely came to mind as a missed opportunity type of sequel, and trust me, this is a real missed opportunity once you hear this, is of course Alice in Wonderland from the 1950s. I mean, yeah, technically we had sequels with the live action movies, but those movies are not even good. Like, when was the last time someone actually said, oh, I actually like the live action Alice in Wonderlands done by Tim fucking Burton of all people? Like, oh my god, I saw clips of those movies, like, I didn't even want to see the whole thing, they were so creepy! Like, no, like, I've seen, like, older live action versions of the Alice in Wonderland tale not done by Disney, and those are less violent than Disney's versions. But yeah, we need a cartoon sequel this time for the cartoon Alice in Wonderland. Like, I'm not sure if they're gonna stick to the original 2D style as it was the first movie. I mean, it would do it justice, but I'm not sure with the giant movement in 3D animation that's gonna happen. But as it was stated in the live action movies, Alice in Wonderland, the original child story, had a sequel, Alice Through the Looking Glass. So we need an Alice Through the Looking Glass in comparison to the Alice in Wonderland that we had since the 1950s. Like, that was such a missed opportunity to do that. I mean, I know Alice in Wonderland didn't do great in the box office originally, but now that everyone associates themselves with the cartoon Disney version, there needs to be a sequel at this point in time. Like, I'm just saying, if you don't catch on it now, like, they're probably never gonna get to it, and knowing Disney, they're probably never gonna get to it. So I'm not gonna, like, cry myself a river, but I would love, but if they're gonna be announcing an Alice in Wonderland sequel in a cartoon instead of the live action version, thank you. Disney, you finally did something right. The next one that came to mind, or actually that has been bothering me for the past couple years now, is that we need a better version of the sequel to Fantasia. I'm not saying that the Fantasia 2000 was bad, because there were some very good moments in Fantasia 2000, like Rhapsody in Blue. Then there was the final one with the Goddess of Spring. I really, really love those. But then, of course, you have... The Toy Soldier wasn't bad, but it was definitely cheesy. And then you have Donald as Noah's Ark playing the graduation song the whole entire time. Oh my god, that almost made me die. Because I thought the last time I would ever hear that song would probably be my college graduation the upcoming year, but the last time I ever heard it, it was high school graduation, and considering my graduating class was like over 1,000 kids, I had to sit there for probably almost 30 minutes listening to that goddamn graduation song, and it almost rotted my brain. And then we have, what the hell, with the flamingo with the yo-yo, are you serious? Like, I mean, I get the song is popular, but why a flamingo with a yo-yo as a cartoon? I think the 2000s, or 1999 at least, was a very weird period for Disney. Like, they wanted to do a new Fantasia movie because that was considered one of Walt's, like, biggest projects from the 1940s, and the fact that it originally didn't sell well because of how long the first movie was. Oh my god, goddamn, that movie was so long. I'm not saying Fantasia 2000's any better, but yeah, Fantasia, the original Fantasia was considered a major flop in the box office because Disney had to pay so much money in order for the movie to be made, and oh, trust me, it made a lot of movie, like, in box office, but not enough to make a profit. So Disney thought, like, a lot of decades later, since the year 2000 was hitting, they would do another Fantasia, which is great and all, but I felt as if they were rushed on ideas, like they couldn't even come up with ideas. I mean, they talked about in the movie that the original Fantasia had a lot of ideas, that they were going to use for a follow-up Fantasia in a more, like, recent era, meaning when the original movie came out, because the first movie did so bad, they had to scrap every single one of those, except for one that they used for Make My Music, but they had to change the song to a more modern tune instead of Debussy's Clair de Lune, which actually is one of my favorite instrumental songs of all time. And I feel like that was a completely missed opportunity because some of the songs were great, but then the rest of the songs were just downright misses, man. Like, I think they tried too hard to compare it to the first movie that it really, really did not work. So I think now that more people are starting to tolerate the first Fantasia and see, like, how Disney did justice for the first version of the movie, I hope that somewhere in the future that they would create a Fantasia that's not as cheesy and with a lot more clear ideas and that flowed better with the audience. Like, I know they try to make the second Fantasia, like, more meant for kids, but with today's day and age, with some Disney movies, they're a lot more adult than you think. Children are a lot more adult than you expect, and I think if you give them the more adult material that doesn't go too far, they would actually tolerate the movie in some light. So, Disney, if you're listening, please make a better Fantasia, and don't repeat the Fantasia 2000. Please don't. And then the last thing I had in mind for missed opportunity, because they were planning on doing this, but because the original movie at the box office, like, flopped pretty badly, they couldn't do this anymore. Which honestly, if they can't follow through with that for Cars, why not this movie? Treasure Planet. This movie is so underrated. But I promise you guys, if you watch it, it's a million times better than what you think it is. I mean, sometimes things don't work, but other times they do. Like, I rewatched this movie recently, and oh my god, I completely forgot how much I actually liked this movie. How much I would like to see a sequel. And like I said, originally, Disney was going to make a sequel to Treasure Planet. And they had a whole, like, plot build up to it and everything. But the problem was the first movie didn't do very well in the box office. So, of course, they had to take that idea and push it away for a sequel. I think the same thing happened to the Aristocats, now that I think about it. But the difference with the Aristocats is that it made a decent amount of money, but I guess it's not enough for fans to be saying, oh, let's make a sequel. And probably that sequel was also going to be a Disney Toon Studio sequel too, until they realized their movies were not doing well either. Like, I completely forgot what the details of the Treasure Planet sequel were. I mean, I know that Jim was supposed to have a love interest at some point, but honestly, I think we need to give underrated movies more of a chance. Like, ever since the boom of the internet, they gave Hunchback of Notre Dame an extra chance. With a horrible sequel, but I digress. They gave Atlantis a chance, with another horrible sequel. How come they can't give Treasure Planet a chance? And especially now with the new 3D, with the new 3D animation, like, I think that would bring the world of Treasure Planet more into light of how Disney wanted it to be now than it would back then. So, Disney, if you're also listening, which I hope you are, and I hope you don't get offended by things I've been saying with Cars 3, please do a sequel to Treasure Planet, finally. As fans, we want a sequel to Treasure Planet, not Cars 3. And now I have, like, 3 movies in mind that I want to see sequels of. Like, these were not planned as far as I was concerned, or one movie had a sequel, but it's not even a sequel, it's a prequel, actually, so I didn't get why they did that. The first movie that came to mind, actually, I had this sparked idea from the Nostalgia Critic, because he mentioned it a while back ago, was why not a sequel to The Great Mouse Detective? If you guys have seen this movie, you remember what happens at the end of the first Great Mouse Detective. Basil had another mystery come to him on his hand, and he was gonna get Dawson to be his assistant. Honestly, I am very curious as to Basil and Dawson going on another mystery. That would be... It sounds like the type of movie, or even the type of TV series that these adventures would happen. But honestly, I would love to see a sequel movie first before they would make a TV series out of it. Because honestly, I love to see badass Basil go through all this adventure in London. Like I want to see, no offense, I want to see mouse Sherlock Holmes rather than regular Sherlock Holmes. I don't know why, I just do. For this sequel, I think everyone wanted a sequel, or wanted this to have a legit sequel. But of course, we got the stupid prequel instead, which was completely unnecessary and kind of ruined the flow of the timeline of the first movie, as a friend mentioned it. Monsters, Inc. When we heard that Monsters, Inc. was gonna get a sequel, we were all very excited. Because I think we all wanted to know, how maybe Boo is going to grow up and maybe she'll remember the monster world or think it was a dream, but then she accidentally stumbles upon it again. We all wanted to see Boo reunite with Mike and Sully at some point. I'm sure everybody did. But then when the details of Monsters University came into light, saying, oh, this is not a sequel, it's a prequel. Instead, it's gonna be how Mike and Sully first met. In college. We were all like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's been over 10 years since the first Monsters, Inc. came out, and the best thing you could do for it is a dumb prequel that nobody asked for? Sometimes I don't know what goes on in Disney's heads when they're coming up with movie ideas. I seriously don't. But, again, if they're listening right now, please take this with a grain of salt. We want a legit Monsters, Inc. sequel. If this appears more in the future because of Monsters University that came out a couple years ago, fine. Fine. But at least I want to see it in my lifetime. I want to know in my lifetime that Monsters, Inc. is going to get a sequel about Boo finding the monster world again and reuniting with Mike and Sully, because we know her and Sully in particular had a, I wouldn't say a father-daughter type relationship, but it was very best friends type relationship, and I want to see more of that when Boo is an adult or teenager. I don't care. I just want to see it. And then the last one I had in mind was, this was so last minute, but I thought, hey, this was a great idea. And I know this movie came out spring of last year. Zootopia. There has to be a sequel to Zootopia sometime. Hey, Nick is now a part of the police force, so he and Judy could go on, another mystery now as, cop partners, which was bound to happen at the end of the first movie. But I guess that the only problem I can see here is, what are they gonna do next? Because Zootopia was a film that conquered the very controversial topic of racism in a kids movie. Which, when the time of this movie came out, oh my god, it was right place, right time. Thank you, Disney. Thank you. I can understand, how they can't come up with a new idea for Zootopia because the first movie was so good and so powerful in its message, but if they can, conquer another topic in a subtle way, maybe LGBT rights? If Disney can do it in a subtle way that children can also understand, Disney would be on the money. They would be so on the money right now. Because, oh my god, when Zootopia came out last year, everyone was like, it was subtle, but you knew what Disney was doing. You knew right away what Disney's message was. And it's one of the more important messages. And I believe Disney can make those movies happen if they really want to. Even if it becomes like very controversial, and I'm surprised that Zootopia hasn't been very controversial for a very blunt message. But if anything's gonna get done around here, one of the biggest movie companies in the world has to do something too. And that's what I think. Well, those are my thoughts on Disney sequels, and again, if you have a Disney movie that you would like to see a sequel of, like a better sequel of, or they didn't have one yet, or a movie already had a sequel but you would like to see a third movie, you can post it in the comments section below. I would love to hear your fun ideas. Also, if you like this video, give it some love around here. I think the like button's around here now. I don't know, YouTube has been changing as of late. Also, if you also like this video and want to see more of my content, you can go check it out, and also click the subscribe button. It would be very helpful of you too, and well, not only just me, but then you would have new videos come out and you would know right away when a new video is coming out. Just so you know. Well, I think that's all for today. I'm Cait, and it has been real.